Guys, welcome back. Waiting for that audio to come through. As soon as it does, we are going to get started here. All right, looks like the ad audio is coming through, so that's nice. All right. Guys, welcome back. Waiting for that audio to come through. All right, we are good to go, guys. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. So we can pretty much do whatever we want during this live stream, but I just want to quickly go over something we did on our last member-only live stream. We designed this this microphone that I found on Amazon, and it was really fun. We learned a lot of modeling techniques. We did a lot of interesting things with booleans. We did some shading techniques, but overall, there's a lot of cool stuff that we learned when modeling this. So if you're not already a member and that's something that interests you, definitely check that out. There's a lot of amazing content that we went over. I'll see if I can find another one real quick because we did do quite a few awesome things in some of those live streams there. But today we're going to be primarily focusing on modeling, geometry nodes, and pretty much anything else that you guys want to cover. So I'm going to give you guys a second to settle in here, wait for a few more people to get here. If you have an idea of what you'd like to see modeled today, let me know in the comments below. I'll consider it. But overall, I think I'm going to choose something sort of techie, kind of like what we already modeled. Some of the other stuff that we went over last time, this was another cool thing we did, and this was with this was actually with geometry nodes. Let's see if this renders here. Yeah, we made this with geometry nodes. This was sort of like this abstract art. Super interesting geometry nodes layout for that one. Again, this was for our members only live streams, but we're going to be doing kind of like a free-for-all today. So let's go ahead and start from scratch here. All right. And let's go ahead and find something to model. If you guys are in the chat right now and you guys are active, please go ahead and drop your name. Just let us know how you're doing, any projects that you're working on, anything that you want to see us cover, let us know. But right now, I'm going to be searching around. Now, before I do that, though, I do want to quickly mention BCON is coming up April 13th to 14th, 2026, which is this year in Austin, Texas. If you guys haven't already got your tickets, I highly suggest you check this out. I'm just going to drop the link in the chat right here. Now, this is something I will be personally going to, so if you want to meet me in person, you can meet me there. I'm hoping to get on stage and do a couple talks, maybe even a demo. So if that's something you're interested in, please, please, please check that out. It's at the In Cahoots, which is, again, in Austin, Texas. Tickets are $400, which may seem a little high, and that is because you're getting so much value out of this. A lot of the best Blender creators are going to be there. Super awesome, so definitely check this out if you haven't already. Again, BCON, Austin, Texas. I'll probably bring this up a little bit later in the live stream, but I just wanted to kind of put it on your radar, guys, all right? So just make sure you check that out. Again, I will be there, and I am so excited for it, so yeah. They're also still calling for sponsors, so if you are a sponsor that's interested, you can check that out. And if you're interested in submitting a presentation, I think there's another day. Yeah, I believe as long as you submit your proposal by February 1st, you can get on stage and talk if your proposal is accepted. So I've already submitted mine. Definitely check that out. All right, guys. So what's going on, Mohammed? How are you? And Prem FW, or was it F7W? How are you doing today? All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to type in tech. I'm going to say new tech products, because I want to find something that we can download, or sorry, that we can find a good image reference of, okay? And something that's like sort of complex, but also reasonable for us to actually design on this live stream. And we're going to take it from modeling all the way to like texturing, everything like that. Oh, organic sculpting. Oh, I haven't done that in, man, I haven't done that in a while. I mean, we could try it if you pitch something that seems interesting enough. So actually, drone might be something up our alley that we might be able to do. A lot of these objects are going to have a lot of bevels. They're going to have a lot of smooth surfaces, right? So we're kind of looking for something that might be relatively easy in terms of skill set, but something that you guys can also do as well. Let's see. The last sculpt I did was a Pokemon, actually, and this was a long time ago, but it was pretty fun. Let me do this for you guys so you can see me a little bit better here. Not that you really care about seeing me, but once we find our product, I'll probably squeeze back down that video thumbnail there. Let's see. Headphones are always a good one. I feel like I've done so many headphones. This camera's pretty cool. What's this camera called here? Let's check this thing out. The Sigma BF. That's a pretty clean looking camera. I feel like we could definitely model something like that. Oh, Apple Vision could be a good one too. So there's really no time limit for this live stream, so we can pretty much do anything we want. Sigma BF. This is a cool one here. It's a really, really simple camera. Wow. Look at that nice side profile and the front profile. So we get this. See, this is actually perfect for modeling because you can get the exact like dimensions of this. I'm going to show you guys a really cool trick too. So when we do go to model this, we're going to actually use ChatGPT to get the dimensions of this product, right? We're going to pull it from Amazon and we're going to put it into ChatGPT. So why don't we do this, and maybe we'll go right to Apple Vision after that. Okay, I'm going to go in here. I am going to right click and save each individual image, and I'm going to actually just make a new folder real quick. We're just going to call it camera modeling. Now this is my exact process. So if a client came to me, all right, and they said, hey, Kenny, we want you to design this in 3D. We need it to be exact dimensions. We need it to look like as perfect as you can possibly get it. We need renders of it. We need animations of it. This is the process that I would use, right? I would kind of go online, make sure I can find some good reference photos. So if you're someone who's looking to get into product design and modeling, this is like the exact process that I would use. So I'm saving all my reference images. I'm going to scroll down. I just want to see if they have any more angled views of this. Again, there's a few on here. Like I might save this as well, because you can kind of see that top-down view. This looks like it is a WebP file, so I'm just going to screenshot it real quick. Screenshot, if you guys don't know, snipping tool is normally what I use. I really don't download anything for screenshotting. I just kind of pick something easy. All right, perfect. And we're just going to name this camera 6. Try to keep everything as organized as possible so I can provide these files to you guys as well. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do one last Google search. We're going to go ahead and type in Sigma BF camera. Okay. And I'm just going to go delete that. I'm going to go ahead and click on images. And I just want to see if there's any other shots of it. Ooh, this is nice. Maybe we can replicate this lighting as well. Okay. It does look like it's from a 007 movie, which is going to be cool. So this should be relatively simple to model. However, the hardest part about this one is going to be these surface textures that we're seeing here. But I'm going to see if we can replicate it using geometry nodes and some fancy shading tricks. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So we're in our Blender document. Before we do anything though, I'm going to show you, this is the trick to getting a perfect model down scaled properly. We're going to go ahead and add a cube, and then right here you see we have our dimensions. I'm going to go back over to the camera on Amazon. I'm going to search for dimensions. Here's the product dimensions right here. 9 by 9 by 9. That can't possibly be right, unless it's with the lens on it. Okay, we'll do 9 by 9 by 9. I mean, it sounds somewhat right. So I'm going to copy this in here. I'm going to go over to ChatGPT. I'm going to go ahead and say, give me Blender units for this. All right, and it'll do that exact thing, exactly what I just asked it. Perfect. This is exactly what I want. These 3 numbers right here, so you guys can see that. If we go here, these 3 numbers right here are exactly what I'm looking for, right? We're looking for this X value, the Y value, and the Z. So I'm going to go ahead back to Blender. I'm going to paste that in. And since it's the same for every single one, I can just paste it across. This is about the dimensions of our camera. So I'll just try to make it generally fit in this box so that once we add our depth of field, it'll actually look like physically correct in some manner. Okay? So we're going to go ahead into our camera modeling folder. I'm going to call this the Sigma camera because that's what it is. All right, and I know we haven't started modeling yet. You guys are patiently waiting, so thank you. We're going to go ahead and start by adding our reference images in. So I'll click on Add Image Reference. I'll just start with the front view first, and I'm going to zero that out on all rotations. All right, I am going to RX90 to scale it down, and I'm going to scale it down to about this size here. And if you can't see it, you can go into your X-ray mode here, and I'll just make sure those edges are barely touching like the cube here. So that looks good. And then I'll just scale every individual image down just like I did for this one. So I'll go ahead, add our reference. We'll need I'll do the back reference too. Okay, again, scaling this down, right? Scaling it down to about the same. That looks good. And then for this one, I'm going to bring it back here, RZ180 to flip it. Oh, did I flip it the wrong way? RZ 180. Why is it flipping it so weird? Oh, it did flip. Oh, it's on both sides. Okay, good. Okay, so this is our back of our camera. This is the front of our camera, okay? And now we need the sides, and then we'll go ahead and continue with that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add a side profile here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do a 90, 0, 0. All right, and then we're going to rotate it RZ 90, RZ 180, because it's facing the wrong way. Scale it down, scale it down, scale it till it's about right there. And the way that we know we're gonna have the right thing is we're gonna line this up with the background here. I'm gonna scale it down until it's about the same width here. That's about right. Perfect. And then again, RZ90, RZ180 if you flipped it the wrong way, which I did. And we are good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up here. So we have our side view, we have our front view, and I think that's all we need. I'll just probably throw the angled one in there just to have it as a reference. I'm going to throw this one in there. This is kind of what we're aiming for, right? This is what we're aiming for right here. So I'll just throw that over there for like inspiration, okay? That's a gorgeous looking camera. It's so simple, but I think that's what makes it, well, awesome. It almost looks like it's upside down just because the way the lighting's coming. So let me check the comments real quick and then we're going to hop right into it. The best way to model a real object is to get your hands on one. Yep, well, I guess I got to buy this $2,000 camera, right? Yeah, the unit trick is going to help you a lot. Again, this is really just so if you're trying to get it as close to scale as you can. You could do this later. You can import it as an asset and then scale it down, but this is the way that I prefer to do it. All right, let's go ahead and hide our cube. I'm going to put all of my reference images into their own folder. So I'm going to press M to create a new collection. I'm going to call it ref for references. And then for our cube, this is also going to be a ref. So I'm actually going to add that into our references because technically I'm not going to touch that cube. This is just to like double check dimensions and things like that. All right, so let's hide our cube. Let's start with a cube, okay? Because at the end of the day, this thing is a cube. We'll scale this down. And then our new collection, I'll just call this modeling, because this is the part of the modeling that we're going to need to do. All right, let's scale it down. Now let's just go ahead and object apply scale real quick. Okay, let's tab into edit mode, SX to scale it on the X, and kind of match those like rough dimensions. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scale it on the Y profile. Okay. Now we're not going to get confused here because there's a little button on the bottom right, but I'm not going to get confused by that just yet. I'm going to scale it a little bit up. Because if you notice, and if we're really getting specific about it, we have a slight taper here. So we're going to match that taper. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of these, S, Z, G, Y, and we're just going to kind of try to match that taper as best as possible. And now we should have something that looks kind of like this with a very, very slight downward slope. And now we're going to move on to the next part here. You need to be rich to get the camera. Yeah, 100%. So this is what we have so far. It's a good little profile of the shape. I'm just going to double check this image over here. Really, we're just looking at some bevels on the sides. Now, here's where our bevel modifier is going to come in. So we're going to add our bevel modifier. And a little trick I learned from Kent Trammell from CG Cookie is that we're going to set the limit method to weight so that we can decide the exact bevel that we want on very specific edges. In this case, I only want to bevel on these edges here, which are our outside edges. So we'll go ahead and select those. And then I'm going to go to my front view here, and I am going to increase the bevel weight. Okay, we're going to kind of hold shift while we do this. And then I'm going to increase the segments, and we're going to see how that looks. That looks pretty close to what they have. I feel like that's pretty darn close. Again, this is a very simple model. There's really anything too crazy here. We're going to do the same to the inner sides. They have a very slight bevel, something you'd really never notice. So I'm just going to hold Alt. That's not going to work. I'm just going to hold Shift and select multiple edges here. I'm only selecting these because I'm going to give them just an ever so slight bevel here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to give them ever so slight bevel. 0.1 is too much, so we'll do 0.002. See if that even did anything. Nope. We're going to do bevel weight 0.01. That's not quite it. Doesn't look very good. So we can do it manually later, or I'll just leave it for now. Oopsies. What just happened there? Go back, go back. Here we go. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Let's do 20. Make it really smooth. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add another bevel on top of that. Very, very slight bevel. We'll just add another modifier, and I'll do 0.0002. Ever so slight, right? Very, very slight. That looks good. Okay, perfect. Okay. At the end of the day, that looks like the general shape. Let's just go ahead and check our reference. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now let's work on this like button on the top. Do I have a reference image of the top? I believe that I do not. Did I get a reference image of the top? Oh, there's two more images. Oh, this is the... Oh, crap. This is the top... Oh, no. Oopsies. I didn't realize this was the top-down view. Okay, that's okay. We can fix that. So this is good, actually, that we noticed this right away. I didn't realize this was the top-down view, so I accidentally put it on the side. So we're going to go ahead and place this image reference on the bottom. So we are going to rotate it like this. Okay, we're going to place it on the bottom here. We're going to scale it out. I'm going to rotate it just a little bit like this. I'll show you why. This is actually really good that we noticed this right away. I'm going to scale this out until it's like about the same size. Okay, that looks good. Well, that could have been really bad. That could have been really bad because it would have really distorted the way everything looked. Let's see how everything's lining up. Okay, good. This is good that we noticed this because that is not correct, and that is not the thickness of the product. Okay, good. So here, and this is why using modifiers helps, because now we can go back even though we messed up. Okay, here's the actual thickness of the product. Perfect. I knew something wasn't looking quite right. Even though I don't have a side profile, I'm going to guess that this thing kind of just comes inward a little bit. I'm going to just see if I can ballpark it here. I'm going to just say that that is correct. Maybe just a little bit. I actually don't know that it comes up like that at all. Do I not? I cannot believe they don't have a side profile of this thing. I thought this was the side profile. Although, here's a good indicator. If you look here, you can see it comes in. On the top, it really doesn't. So if this is like a true like flat-on view, then I think we're good to go. Yeah, I did not notice that. I'm glad I did notice that, because that, now that I was looking for the button and I found it here, I'm like, oh, okay, we did something wrong. All right, this is good though, and this is good learning experience. So how do we get that circle? There's a couple of things we can do here. You're probably thinking Boolean. I'm thinking the same thing. That's probably going to be the easiest, right? If I go in here and start like subdividing this thing, we're just going to get all this type of wacky topology. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to add, oopsies, I'm going to add in here a cylinder. All right, and it doesn't really matter how many segments. We can always increase this later. I'm going to go ahead and scale it down. I'm going to go to my X-ray view so I can match the scale. Okay, I'm going to try my best to center this. Now, I want to do this in two parts, right? I want this to cut into our shape, but I also want to save a cylinder, so I want to duplicate that, and we're going to come back to that cylinder for the actual button itself. So this one is just going to indent, and the other one is going to be slightly different. Now, this looks like, if we look really close, it has a slight concave shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this up. I'm going to give it a small bevel on the bottom, except for, before we do that, I'm actually going to do this with modifiers. We'll do a bevel. We'll do an edge split. Why are you not giving me the edge split? Edge split, there it is. And then we'll do a subdiv. Now, the reason we do that edge split is because if you don't and you add a subdiv, you get these weird artifacts right there. So that kind of helps us, well, not have those. Okay, we're going to go down here and just press in slightly. Now, let's hide this and make sure that the beveled area matches up with what we're trying to do here. And that's about right. Cool. Okay, now we have to just do our Boolean operation. Make sure you shade smooth first, though, or you're going to get some weird artifacts, right? So let's go ahead and do a Boolean on our main object. Difference, we'll select this, and there it is. There's our slight bevel. That's perfect. It looks clean. It's good. Now we'll take our other cylinder, which is this one. I'm going to call this one cut because it's cutting into our object. I'm going to scale this one down. All right, I'm going to bring it down. See how much it protrudes. Protrudes a little bit. Something like that. Okay. And then let's just go ahead and take a look at what this looks like. Okay. So it does have a slight bevel. It has an inset and kind of like a little press inward. So we're going to kind of match that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add a bevel. I'm going to apply that scale first because that bevel is going to get destroyed if we don't. Let's shade that smooth. Let's also add edge split. I realized why edge split wasn't popping up. I was spelling it wrong, and that's okay. Subdivision surface. Now I'll do 0.02. We'll do 0.002. All right, 0.0005. Okay. Okay, that looks decent. I'm not sure if I'm 100% set on that bevel amount. There we go. All right, let me just double check because it's really hard to see in this. Okay, that looks good. Now I can't tell if it's a chiseled bevel or not. So again, coming back online here, I just want to see if there's any close-ups of that shutter button. Here's a good angle of it right here. Of course, the image quality isn't great, but let's see if we have it on here. Come on, give me a good view. Here we go, perfect. That's a good view of it. It looks slightly chiseled, so we'll give it a slightly chiseled look. That's fine. Okay, so to give it a slightly chiseled look, we'll go ahead and reduce the segments here. And there we go. That's really it. We'll give it 2 subdivisions for a nice clean look. And then on the inside, that's where we're going to have to bevel it out. So we're going to have to go into our X-ray mode. We're going to go to our top-down view. We'll select our top face, if it's going to let me. Just the top face. Perfect. Sometimes you have to go out of X-ray mode to select it. I'm going to inset this once. And then I'm going to inset it again. Okay, and here's what we're going to do. This is the trickery of how we're going to make this work. We're going to press this inwards like that, all right? Okay. We're going to add a loop cut here, and then we're going to bevel that loop cut with a few of these. See how that looks. Now, if we still get this weird like banding in the middle, let's go ahead and focus, go on our focus mode here. We take this inner section here. It's going to let me select it. It's really not wanting to. Come on. Nope, I just want this piece. Just this piece. There we go. I want to inset that one more time, which that should fix it. Cool. Now this part is going to be so small, you're not even really going to see it, but that's about what I'm looking for. And if it needs to be even smoother than that, you can then bring that down a little bit more. And if you really want to, you could add the smooth modifier, but I don't think I'm going to do it. I think it looks fine. I'm pretty happy with it. Cool. And there's our shutter button. All right, so we have our shutter button, and then there's these 2 small holes on the top. I will go ahead and add those just with like a Boolean. And since we already have our cutting shape here, I'm just going to take advantage of that. I'm going to tab into edit mode, go to edit mode, and I'm going to shift D and X to snap it. I'm going to scale this down to about the size of whatever this thing is. And then I'm going to scale it up. So I'm going to go ahead and scale it up like this. I'm going to move it down, and then I'm going to duplicate it again. All right, so we're only taking advantage of one Boolean here. So now if we tab out of edit mode and we press H, let me go back to solid view. Now we have those 2 holes in there, and they look good. Except I want to get rid of the bevel on them, so hold on. I want to get rid of the bevel. How do I do that? I guess I could just... Yeah, I'll do that. Perfect. That fixed it. Okay, and hide, and we're good. Okay, so we have those 2 holes on the top. That looks good. We can shade those later if we need to. But so far, looking pretty good, right? We're kind of getting in there and getting these little details. Why are we using edge split? Edge split helps with the with cylinders specifically when you're subdividing. Yeah, I guess you could set the subdiv to simple. I haven't tried that, but that's a good thought. I don't know. Haven't tried it before. Okay, let's take a look at the front here. So, all right, I'm going to hide this for just a second. I want to look at this front face here. So the front face gets kind of split, right? It gets kind of split right there. I actually have a reference with the lens off, so let's take a look at that real quick. All right, so with the lens off, it splits right here. All right. I'm going to kind of create a patch for this piece here so that we can add a texture to it with geometry nodes. So let's do that. let's figure out where that split is. I'm just going to add a cube in here real quick. Okay. Because I just want this for a reference. Perfect. Like I want to see where that split is. It looks like the split is probably like right about there. I guess I'll pull this other reference image in real quick. I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm just going to I'm going to swap the image out with the other one, which I probably could have done that earlier too, but that's okay. All right, cool. Now we can see exactly where the split starts. It starts right about there. Now, how do we get this like piece that we're looking for? Well, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take the front face of this. I am going to right click. No, actually, I'm gonna duplicate it. Shift D and Y, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click and I'm just gonna do separate, and I'll just do selection. And now we have our own selection for this. I'll tab into edit mode. I'm gonna basically take my right edge. I'm gonna bring it over until it kind of meets right about there. And now we have this plate that we can use. The only thing we're missing is we're missing the bevel. So let me add our bevel back in. I'll just add a oh, we do have our bevel. Let me set it to vertex mode. Here, let's get rid of both of these bevels and the Boolean. Let's add a bevel set to vertices, and then we'll just adjust the amount on the left side only, set to weight. We'll go ahead and tab into edit mode, grab this vertice and this vertice, go to front view. We'll increase that bevel weight. Why is it not working? Oh, here we go. Bevel weight. What do we want to set that to? Let's set it to... Oh, I just can't see it. That's why. I can't see it happening. Let me hide these three. There we go. All right, bevel weight, we want it to be about there. What did I do, 20 segments last time? Perfect. All right, so we'll copy that bevel weight amount, 0.027, paste it over here, and we should be good to go. So now we have this front plate, which does look like it has some very, very slight thickness for it. So I'll just give it a solidify. I am going to apply the scale. Actually, I'm not going to apply the scale. I'm going to do 0.002 on this. 0.0005 might work perfect. And I'm going to line it up from our top-down view. And remember, this is like, we're trying to get this as close as possible here. Barely touching. Perfect. Again, this plate is going to have our texture, which is why I added it. Perfect. All right, so we have our plate. All right, now I think the next thing I'm going to do, there was this piece that I saw. There's a piece. Yep, there's like a circular piece down here, so let's model that. I'm not sure what that is. That might be like to take the lens off, because I am a little bit into photography, so I think that's probably to take the lens off. So we're going to go ahead and add that next. So I'll just add in a cylinder. Cylinder. Okay, we'll scale that down. RX90 to flip it. X-ray mode. Move it. Scale it. Good. Scale it even more. Again, we're just kind of trying to line it up the best that we can. Perfect. And then I think it just has kind of like a slight bevel around all sides. So I'm going to object apply scale as usual. We're going to kind of bring this to the surface here. Barely touching the surface. Give it a little bevel. Shade it smooth. We're just going to give it an edge split as usual. And we'll give it a subdivision surface modifier. And it looks really good. I want to say it's like on the surface. That looks fine. It is definitely above this like textured surface, which we haven't gotten to yet. We will get to it. Don't worry. Edge split could be limited by angle. So, yep. That sounds about right. Why is my Mac not charging? Why? Should be charging. I don't really need it, but it's fine. All right, I'll pay attention to the chat on here. Perfect. All right, guys. So right now we have pretty much everything we need for like, I feel like the base. We'll come back to the back of the camera, I think, next. Let's see, where is that back of the camera? That's the front, and there's the back. Okay, so let's bring it over here, and let's take a look at what we need. All right, so this is going to be, this part's going to involve some real detailed work with like booleans, things like that. But I think overall, we can probably model some of this just with basic primitives. It's really tough to tell if this piece is like inset or what's going on with like that piece specifically. You don't need edge split if you bevel before subdividing. Okay. I will keep that in mind. Thank you, Mohammed. I appreciate it, my friend. All right, here we go. So for this part, I think I'll do all these as one Boolean. So I think I'm just going to add, you guys will probably like what I'll do here. I'll probably just add a plane. Okay, we'll scale it down a bunch. We're going to rotate it on the x-axis. We're going to move it on the y, scale it down. I'm also going to switch over to my random colors for everything. Okay. I'm going to tab into edit mode and scale this down. And I'm just going to kind of piece these together based on like just general positioning. And then we'll add like a bevel to these, okay? Yeah, because like I'm thinking we can actually make these out of planes, and then we can take these planes, give them some thickness, right? First we'll bevel them with vertices, all right? We'll give them like 20 cuts. We'll bevel them as much as we can. See, now we have something that lines up with those shapes, okay? And then what we'll do is we'll do a solidify modifier going this way, okay? We'll bring them to the surface here. Now, they're going to have a slight bevel. So let's see if we can achieve that with only modifiers. So we did bevel, we did solidify, or sorry, we did, yeah, we did do bevel. And now let's do another bevel. Let's see what happens here. All right, we're getting some weird artifacts. Let's see why. Are we clamping the overlap here? Why are we getting weird artifacts? I thought we were clamping the overlap. We are. Oops. Perfect. Okay, we're just going to be really specific about what we do here. And then for our inset, that looks about right. Cool. All right, so now we have our bevel. I'm going to have this kind of like touching the surface here in a way where like the bevel is touching as well as the central part of it. All right. Now for our Boolean, we'll add another Boolean. And let's see what we can come up with here. Another Boolean, we'll add these. And yes, we have what we're looking for. Now, remember, you're going to want to shade it smooth so that you get a smooth result on your Boolean as well. So, yeah. Interesting. I didn't think these bevels were going to be a huge issue in the chat, but here we are. I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. Now, let's go back and let's do this part too, because I think there's a slight bevel there. I think I might just do all the pieces like this, right? Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, if you want this to go really fast, turn your Boolean off in viewport just for now while you piece these together. Okay, take this, duplicate that, scale it down, move it, scale it on the X. Cool. And then I'm not sure what this piece is right here. I might have to do like a little bit more research there. Object, apply, scale. There we go. All right, we're going to have to turn our solidify down quite significantly. There we go. Okay. And then for this, actually, you know what? We're going to go back. What we had before was fine. Just need to look at this value here. Why are we getting such a weird result? There we go. All right, turn our Boolean back on, see how this looks. And it looks weird. Why? There we go. That's fine. Okay, so there's some of our panels there, except for the only thing about this one is that our big circular one here doesn't seem to want to do much of anything, does it? So we may have to, we'll just delete these for now. We'll do this one manually. Okay. All right, I am going to go ahead and do a 0.139, I think is what I had before. Why is it giving me such a weird result? Bevels, why bevels aren't an issue? When bevels, oh, when aren't they an issue? Oh, I don't know. No, I have no idea. Here, I'm going to take this, though. I'm going to take this guy, scale him up, bring him over here. I'm going to make this guy this one here. Yep, perfect. Okay. Okay, now what we're going to do with this guy is we're just going to do, I don't know, slightly less bevel. Oh my god. There we go. I wonder, I really don't use the like other settings on this, mainly, like with beveling, but I guess I could. There's just a lot of booleans on this shape. And that's fine. That's fine. Okay, cool. And you know what? Might as well take that cylinder, duplicate it, and use it for this piece here. Because that piece has a whole lot going on. So I'm going to actually duplicate it again for the inner button. So I'm going to duplicate it for this button. I'm going to take this piece here. I'm going to move it here, scale it down. This piece is going to go here. This piece is going to have like a slight inset, so we'll inset it and just push that back. Go ahead and go into our X-ray mode. It's not going to be perfect, but we'll get it as close as we can. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and bring this back. Something like that. Perfect. All right, that looks good. And we'll add that, whenever we figure out how to do that surface texture, we will do that as well. All right, that looks good. Hide. Those are going to be like some kind of stickers or something, you know, like something we add later. All right, now for this piece, like there is a slight inset on this side for our screen. I think I'll probably do the exact same thing we just did, but with just like a separate object. So I'm just going to add a cube, scale it way, way, way down, scale it thin. Something like that looks good. We'll come back here. We'll tab into edit mode, which I guess I could have just been in to begin with. We'll scale it like that. It does have a very, very slight bevel, so we'll give it that slight bevel, and maybe we can do it in edit mode since we're so good at modeling, right? I am going to duplicate it at some point because we're going to need it for like the screen itself, because I'll probably do like a separate material for that. For now, though, for this piece, I'll just add a bevel. Nope, not a vertex weight mix, whatever the heck that is. That is not what I want. I just wanted a bevel. Object apply, scale. We'll go ahead and bevel just the edges, and I'll just set it to weight because I really only want the outer edges to have it. Again, just this one here. Shift click that one, shift click that one, shift click that one, and it's just going to be ever so slight. That's too much. Perfect. Literally like crazy slight. And then go ahead and duplicate that. This piece will actually be the thing that pushes in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add, well, yet again, another boolean. I'm a noob. You have taught me many skills. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know, it's crazy because I actually think that I'm a noob. But I guess I'm not if I'm live streaming. Like, I don't know. I'm a humble noob. How about that? There we go. Okay, so there's our screen, slightly inset. It's crazy because even though this is like a really simple thing, there are like so many weird little complexities to take care of, right? Okay. I might have to get another reference photo of like the back of this thing. I don't know what that is, if it like sticks out. Like, where's my reference photos of the back of this thing? Okay, I think that this concaves inwards. Like, oh no, it doesn't. What the heck? Oh. Here's another angle of it. Okay, so it actually sticks out. God, that is so strange. Oh, we know this because we have our top-down view. But here's a good angle of it. Okay, so, oh, this is actually a really good. This is a really good mock-up. Wow, is this like someone design this? Maybe the company made this. I don't know. This is a really nice like little render here. Okay, that's going to be an interesting one. Okay, I think we know how to do it though. And you know what's funny? We can really see what's going on here now with these like bevels and things like that. This is a really good reference photo. We're gonna definitely use this. Okay, so let's take a look at like this shape. So this is generally like gonna be a plane. It's gonna have a bevel. It's gonna be solidified, and we're gonna use a simple deform to warp it into this shape. And before that, we're gonna cut out the shape behind it. This is the thumb grip. I want to say this clicks in. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know if it's just part of the design. It's pretty clean. It's a pretty clean design. So let's do this. Let's grab this image. Let's minimize everything else. Let's do a little split screen action here. I'm just gonna do something like this. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and I am going to add a plane. I'm gonna scale it down. I'm gonna bring it over here. I'm gonna RX90 to rotate, tab into edit mode, X-ray mode, scale it down. We're gonna kind of zoom in here. Okay, we're gonna try to like match this up as cleanly as we can. This is really close to like the edge of the product. So we're gonna be like super careful here. All right, so we have our shape. Let's scale it up. Okay, what I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to go to Object, Apply, Scale, and then we're going to go back into Edit mode. We'll add a bevel, but we want to bevel the vertices, and I'm going to go ahead and do this while I'm in Edit mode. I guess it really doesn't matter. I'll just do 20. Let's go ahead and increase that a little bit. Now we have this kind of like general shape that we're looking for, and then what I'll do next is I'll add a solidify. Okay, let's see how much this is solidified. So we want to punch this shape in to, so you can see this slight recessed part here. We want to punch this shape into our object, but then we also want to like duplicate the shape. So I'm going to go ahead and take what we have right here. I'm going to duplicate it because we're going to need it again. Okay, I'm also going to take this, bring it slightly out, and we're just going to punch into our shape with, well, another Boolean. I really do love the Boolean modifier. Like it's just so simple to use, and that looks good. One thing to keep in mind as we do this, though, is that you are going to want to make sure you shade smooth, always. Shade auto smooth is fine. Okay, now for this shape, we're going to need to like kind of concave it. This is going to be like an interesting experimental thing that we're going to do together. Before we do that, we do need another bevel. I have an idea of how I'm going to accomplish this. I'm not 100% sure that it's going to work, but we're going to try it. All right, let's do 0.006, 0.009. Okay, cool. And then we're going to go ahead and bevel this less. 0.002, nope, 0.0006 maybe? Maybe a little bit smaller than that. That looks good. Okay, cool. So we have our piece, right? I do think that the thickness is slightly less than this. So we'll do 0.005. We'll go ahead and bring it back to where it's supposed to be. So it's going to be here, but it's kind of curve like outwards. I have a couple of ideas of like how this is possible. I think we're going to have to do set origin to geometry. We're going to need that origin to be set to the geometry itself. And then I think like we can curve it with a simple deform. So let's go ahead and like just see if that's possible. Let's do simple deform. Now you'll notice we're going to get some like weird stuff here. And the reason we're getting weird stuff is because if you look at the actual geometry, it's really just a plane, right? There's really nothing going on here. So I'm thinking that if we remesh this, we may be able to get the twist that we are like desiring. Another way we could do this is with a curve, and we could curve it around. So let's try to remesh, and let's see what we get. Now, when we remesh, everything's going to disappear because our voxel count is not high enough. We're going to remesh it to about 7. We are going to add a smooth modifier with 10 repeats. We'll come back to the remesh. Don't worry, guys. I just want to see if this is going to help us achieve our simple deform that we want. Let's try twisting on the Z. Oh, you know what? The reason it's not working, we need to do Object, Apply, Rotation. And then I believe, why doesn't it want to work? Oh, here we go. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so now I think if we adjust the origin to a separate area, we might be able to make this work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this is going to be kind of wild, but we're going to bring this towards like the 3D origin here, like the regular 3D origin. Okay. And then we're going to set the origin to 3D cursor. And now we have this, well, we have what we're looking for. Notice how when I move it, like nothing happens. So I think I might just keep it there like that. Move it back into place wherever it belongs. And now look, we can actually see our top-down view. So our thickness isn't quite enough. So maybe we do 0.00, I don't know, 7. Okay. And now we have something that looks half decent. Let's see how we're looking here. Why can't I see the inside here? That's kind of what it looks like, but obviously the only problem with this is that our remesh isn't quite high enough. So let's see if we can remesh it one more step up here. It's gonna be slow on compute time. That's the only real issue there. And you know what? I'm gonna do 0.004 because I really don't think I think the thickness is throwing me off here. Perfect. And the reason this is so hard to see is because there's no like bevel here. But if we go ahead and enable the cavity option, you can kind of see it a little bit better. That's a tough shape. I'll admit that is a tough shape to accomplish there. I don't mind that. I think I'll keep that for now. We can always come back to it later. That's a tough one because I didn't want to have to remesh it, but it's one thing we could do, right? I do want to take a second since I have you guys, and I do just want to quickly mention BCON one more time because if you haven't got your tickets already, well, now would be a great time to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and go to BCON real quick. BCON 2026, that is. If you haven't got your tickets already, I highly suggest you check it out. I'm just going to drop it in the chat below. Just something to consider. I'll be there. I can't wait. It's in Texas. If you are local in the US, like definitely check it out. That's it. Just a quick ad for that. Yeah, I'll be there. So I hope to see you guys there too. Awesome. So now that we got that out of the way, definitely check that out. Maybe at least bookmark it, revisit it. And if you want to submit a talk to BCON, you can do that. You have to do it by February 1st. So if you're someone that's interested in that kind of stuff, check it out. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. So as you can see, we're kind of getting pretty far on our design. It looks pretty good. I think the logical next step would be the lens. I'm obviously saving this very fun texture for the last part of this. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what the lens looks like. Let's go ahead and look at our reference photos. So obviously we're going to be working with some cylinders here for the lens. I'm going to hide this view here. I think I'll look at my top-down view, and I'm just going to sketch this out with a cylinder first. And I'm actually going to take these folders. I'm going to make a new collection. I'm going to call it lens. I do think the lens deserves its own collection. It is going to be a complex object, right? I'm going to start with quite a few subdivisions here. I'm going to scale this down. I'm going to rotate it, object, apply, all transforms. Let's scale it down some more. And I'll probably continue to do this like as we go, like applying the scale and stuff like that, right? All right, so let's start with this. Let's just start in general with this. I'm going to need to know like where this is placed as well. So I'm going to pull up my reference images yet again. I need this reference here. I need to see like how much of a footprint does this thing actually take up. Now, this is a misleading image right here because this is the lens, the forefront of the lens. We need to actually look at a different reference image, which I believe is this one. This is the actual footprint of the lens. And you can see that we actually got it pretty darn close, right? Because this is the start of the lens. This is where the lens attaches to the body of the camera. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with that. I'm going to add a subdivision surface, and let's test if our simple subdivision does work. No, look, it doesn't. I remember we were talking about this earlier. You need that edge split modifier first. If you don't have it, this isn't going to work. Now we have it, and we should be able to, why isn't this working? Object apply, scale should not be having any issues here. Am I on the right object? Edge split, subdivision. There we go. Okay, let's check one more time. Simple doesn't work. This version does work, right? And you can see we can add our subdivisions here, okay? So now that we have cleared that up, let's go ahead and actually add in our lens. Let's start to form our lens, excuse me, based on what we see here. Now, the general process goes like this. We're going to tab into edit mode, go over to our face. We're going to extrude it. We're going to scale it. We're going to extrude it. We're going to scale it. We're going to do this over and over again until we get the basic shape of our lens. This is a good time to save your project if you are following along. All right, now we only really have this profile to work with, so I'm going to try my absolute best to get this correct. Those ridges we'll probably add in later via an array, a circular array of some sort. So it looks like it starts about here. We're just going for like generally a rough version of this, right? We'll scale it in. Okay, we'll extrude. All right, we're going to scale that in again. Extrude. Scale, extrude, extrude, scale, extrude, extrude, scale, extrude, extrude, scale. This is going to be kind of a tedious process. Now, this is a button, so I'm actually just going to extrude it right from here. Extrude, scale, extrude. And yes, I know there's many ways to do this. This is just the way that I prefer. You guys can do it however you want. Now, this ring here, these rings, I may actually do these separately with separate cylinders, okay? So I'm actually going to extrude this down, extrude it again, scale it. Now remember, there is going to be some level of distortion for this lens, so keep that in mind, okay? Now, again, I'm going to do these rings separately, so just keep that in mind, okay? Perfect. This I will not do separately, so I'm going to extrude this, scale it up. Extrude, scale, extrude, and then that is what I will add separately. So we'll have something that looks generally like this. Everything with ridges, I'm going to do completely separately, but overall, that process is exactly what I would use. It doesn't work in all cases. It works in some cases, you said. Oh, you're talking about the bevel? Are we still on the bevel? Guys, if you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribed to CG Cookie. This is a great time to do so. Okay, so for this part here, even though I kind of lied, I'm actually going to think about this for just 1 second. I'm going to select this edge loop, hold Alt and select it. And I am going to extrude it out into this area here. Okay, and I'm just going to delete this. Delete the face. Perfect. Okay, cool. Now, this part here where the ridges are, I actually want this to be like a separate thing. So I'm going to go into X-ray mode, face select. I'm only going to select these faces, right-click, separate selection. Now I have this piece separated from the rest, so I can do my ridges on this piece. And there is also a thickness to this piece. In order for us to figure out what that is, we're going to go back to our original reference with the camera lens right here. And we're also going to look at some references online and just see what that thickness looks like. Okay. Oh, here it is right here. Is that? Yeah. Okay, it's just got the ever so slight thickness. And yes, we will design the inner iris of the lens as well. So it's got ever so slight thickness. In fact, I didn't realize it was in the image. It is. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to give it some thickness with solidify. And let's see. Go ahead and reduce that a little bit. See how that lines up. Now, for some reason, it is not lining up with the image, and that is probably because my scale is slightly off with this one. So we're just going to kind of go with it and just hope for the best. All right, press A, right-click. Actually, you know what? I'm going to highlight these. I'm going to do Shade Auto Smooth. Oh, things are looking really good. Awesome. Now, for this inner edge here, I'm actually going to take this outer edge and I'm going to fill it just for now. We can always come back. I'm just going to press F to fill. Okay, because I do believe there's a piece of glass there, right at the edge there where that lens is. All right, let's figure out how to do these ridges. They should be pretty simple. I'm going to start with a plane, scale it down to the size of the ridge. I'm going to solidify it and array it around a curve. So let's get that curve first. Let's add in our curve. I'm going to go to Add Curve, Circle Curve, scale it way down because the dimensions are a little bit wackadoodle. Scale it down a little bit more. Now, since we have multiple curved objects, we're going to need to double check the scale on those. We may need multiple curves to array our objects around. Let's go ahead and see where our first curvature is. It is right about here. Why is this? Oh, it's not lined up. All right, there we go. Let's line it up. Let's scale it down. I'm also going to click on my image reference, and you know what? I'm going to lower the opacity just a little bit because it is kind of hard to see what I'm doing. Scaling it down. Perfect. Okay, so this circle is where we're going to array our ridges. Now, you'll notice they only go around a certain amount because I believe this is our, is that like the aperture? I'm not sure. I forget my camera terms here. But the ridges don't go all the way around right here. They do go all the way around right here. So I'm going to duplicate my curve. Okay, we have two curves now. This is going to be the front ridges right here, and that's going to be perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and design a ridge. Now, in this case, we don't have any macro shots, so I'm going to double check on Chrome because I think these ridges have a slight concave shape to them. Yep, if you look really, really, really close, where was that other image reference? Yeah, here you go. Oh, you can actually really see it here. Hold on. See how they're slightly concave? I actually want to get a snip of that. I want to get a snippet of that. Where's my snipping tool? Here we go. I'm going to show you because I want you to see. You can really see it right here. So we're going to use this as like a reference, but you can see if you really zoom in here, we'll save this. Okay. I'm just going to save this as ridge. If I can spell it. There we go. Ridge. And I will go ahead and drop that in here real quick as an image reference. Let's go to image reference, ridge, scale it way down. Okay. And I'm going to do 90, 0, perfect. I'm going to scale it to the point where it actually matches our ridges up here. So let's see if we can scale it right about. Is this the same image? Maybe it was. All right, doesn't matter. I'm going to scale it rough, and then we'll come back. Perfect. All right, so there's our ridges right there, and you can see they have this kind of like pyramid shape, right? So we're going to kind of replicate that. All right, let's do this. Let's add a, you know what? We'll add a cube. We'll keep it simple, less modifiers. We'll add a cube. We'll scale it, scale it, scale it, scale it. We'll go ahead and scale it some more. We'll line it up here. I'm going to line it up with one of these top ones here. And we will probably have to come back to this, right? At the end of the day, this should be relatively simple, though. Edit mode, right? Kind of come up here, and you just scale these in. Something simple like that. It really isn't much more than that, I don't think. So let's keep it at that for now. Okay. I do think they're a little bit longer. Let's see what we can get. Let's see how far we can get with just that piece there. Let's start with the top ridges here. Wow, I actually scaled that up almost perfectly, unknowingly. Now, one of the key things to make this work is you're going to probably have to zero out your shape in order for this to wrap around your camera properly, okay? So just keep that in mind. Scale myself down so you guys don't have to worry about that. Let's do an array. We're going to do an array around a curve. In this case, we're going to use this curve here. Oops, not the cylinder. We want to use the curve. I'm just going to kind of increase that amount a bunch. That looks good. And now you can see that it's not flipped properly. So when we align the rotation, we can decide, I believe we can decide which way is which. But in order to make this perfect, I'm just going to do object apply all transforms real quick. Now you'll notice that everything kind of pops over here. And the reason for that is because the origin is not set correctly. So if you want to, you can set the origin to the geometry, which should fix that. There's a couple other ways to do that, but I'm just going to stick to that. And then it should just be working. It looks like it's flipped 100 degrees, so I'm going to flip it like this. Perfect. Now everything's facing outwards, and this is looking pretty good. I think I might have to increase the amount, though. And we're going to kind of do the same exact thing on the other side, too. So that's really generally how I would do the ridges. And then you can take this circle. I'm going to name this because this is the front circle, so I'm just going to name this front groove, or I'm gonna name this middle grooves because the top has grooves too. I'm gonna say middle grooves, okay? And then I can scale this down until it's barely on the surface here. And then I also want to double check my image real quick because I don't think I have these lined up correctly. Do I not have these lined up correctly, or did I not model this correctly? How did I not model that part? Oh, I forgot I said I was going to do a separate cylinder. That's why. Okay, I kind of forgot I said I was going to do that. Oopsies. Okay, that's okay. So we can still do this anyway. All right, let's go to our front view. Let's take this middle groove. We can't really see it, but we're gonna estimate that. We're gonna add another one of these cylinders so that we have that outer pressing shape. Let's do that now. Let's add a. Actually, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna duplicate it. I am going to tab into edit mode, SY, scale it down, GY, scale it, SY, scale it again. Let's go to our top-down view. Perfect. And let's just double check the scaling there. Perfect. And then we just want our ridges to line up with this. So we'll come back to our middle groove curve. We'll scale them out till they're barely touching the curve. Good to go. There's a slight offset. Why is that? Where is our cube? Where did I set the origin to? I set it to the geometry, which is the middle of the geometry, not the bottom, and that was the problem. So we want to move it up slightly so it's set right there. That should fix the problem. Did it fix it? It did, I think. And I think we won't have any scaling issues now. We're still having scaling issues because the curve is not perfectly centered. That's an easy fix. Perfect. And that looks good. And then we're going to duplicate that exact thing. We're going to duplicate it over to get our ridges on the other side. And the ridges on the other side start here, and then we can basically stop them where we want to. So we can tell the array like where to stop generating them, okay? Same concept there. I'm going to actually just duplicate this whole thing. I'm going to take the cube, I'm going to take the cylinder, and I'm going to take, here, I'm going to hold control. Boom, boom, boom. This is the whole bunch. I'm going to duplicate it in X-ray mode. I'm going to scale it on the Y. Perfect. We just double check the scaling on that. Perfect. Okay, let's double check, see how that's looking. Good. I just need to adjust the solidify for this. Good, good, good. Looking good. And again, we can kind of center everything here now. We kind of go to our middle grooves. Now, this one's going to be called back grooves because it is the last one. We're going to move it back to center. We're going to go here to our middle groove. We're going to move this back to center everything. It's looking pretty solid. Okay, now we only have the grooves in the front. Again, same concept. I'm actually going to pack these into one thing. So I'll do back grooves, the original cube, and our, wow, which cylinder was it? It's going to be tough. Let me hide this real quick. It's these pieces here. Perfect. I'm going to bundle those into a new collection. I'm just going to call this middle groove. That way I don't get messed up here. I'm going to bundle these into their own collection. I'm going to call these back groove. Could you do this hard surface modeling? Absolutely. In fact, I encourage you to do so if you want to. I'm going to duplicate that collection. I am going to bring it over here, and I am going to scale it out. Why are my origins being so weird? Oh, because it doesn't know how to scale it out because it doesn't know where the original origins are. It's okay. We'll just eyeball it. It's all good. So we actually don't need this piece anymore. We really just need this scaled in. And that looks pretty good. And then we'll just take our cube, tab into edit mode, press A to select everything. We'll scale it on the Y so we can scale this out all the way. And it's looking pretty solid. Double check the groove thickness. It looks pretty consistent all around. I'm pretty happy with that. Now we need to take this piece here. We don't want the array to wrap all around. I only want it to wrap a certain distance. So I'm going to choose distance. Or no, I'm going to choose count. Oh, how do I do this? Per curve, relative space, realize instances, whatever. How do you do distance? Oh, I haven't tried this one before. Okay. Tell you what, they did change this up a little bit, didn't they? I guess you could delete part of the curve. I haven't tried that. Let me try deleting part of the curve. I really haven't tried that, but let's just see what happens. I'm kind of a little nervous that this isn't going to work, but what if we dissolve the vertices? No, we don't want to do that. Let me think for a minute. I haven't really messed with this new array modifier before. It's a little different than what I'm used to. Not 100% sure how to do this, I'll be honest with you guys. Maybe we'll come back to it because I don't really feel like dealing with it right now, and that's okay. All right, this looks awesome. Let's hide this reference. Let's hide this reference for now. Thinking, what else am I missing here? Okay, so let's do this like surface texture thing real quick because I kind of want to mess around with that before we start like doing anything else. So let's go over to geometry nodes. Let's go to view. We'll just do like frame selected here. Zoom out. Turn our cavity back on. Turn on our random textures. So this is going to be interesting because I'll be honest, I'm not sure how to create this. I'm going to try my best to just piece it all together however I know to do so. So I want to get a close-up shot of this texture. It really just looks like a diamond. It looks like a cube like tilted on its side. I'm thinking we can just do distribute points on faces, or we can do like a grid booleaned with our shape, and then we generate points, or we generate those points for the grid, and then we instance those points. That's like, I could see it working like that because a grid, you want this to be in a grid formation rather than just like randomly distributing points. So here's what I'll do. I will quickly design something that can be like instanced onto these points. So I'm going to actually put this in its own folder yet again. New collection. I'm going to call this textured surface. Try to keep things like nice and organized here. All right, perfect. Textured surface. I'm going to call this plate. Perfect. All right, now let's add a cube. Let's scale it way down. All right, and I think honestly for our textured thing, it's literally just going to look like this. Like that is our piece right there, right? It literally just looks like that, scaled way down. Object apply scale, that's fine. Now for the origin, here's what we really need to do. We need to tab into edit mode. The origin needs to be like on the back of this because these are going to sit on the surface. So that origin point needs to be like right there. I believe that'll help us when we distribute these points. So here's now the test of how can we put this thing on the surface, right? Because this is a textured surface. This isn't something that I don't think we can achieve this with shader nodes. So we're going to try to achieve this with like geometry nodes in general. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's do a grid. I'll start with that. And I'm going to do a mesh boolean. I just want to see if this works. This may not work at all. Now, real quick though, with the grid, I want to actually scale this grid down to about the size of like what this thing will be. Let's just go ahead and do our top-down view. I'm going to also do a transform geometry real quick because I want to put it where it's supposed to be, which is a little bit over, right? We're going to come back to our mesh boolean real quick. All right, so it's a little bit over. We're going to rotate it up like this, right? And we're going to actually have it kind of a little bit out like this direction here. And we're going to do like a mesh boolean, right? This is going to be something that is going to cut into where we're trying to go. 0.005. Perfect. All right, let's see if this works. All right, so we have our grid. Let's give it like 100 vertices on both sides. So if you go into wireframe mode, your grid's going to look like this. My hope is that we can boolean this and we can delete the points that we don't need and then just leave the remainder based on this boolean here. So let's grab our boolean. Let's plug this in and then this. Just want to see what we're getting here. Difference we'll do exact. Now, I don't think they're intersecting because, and the reason why is this plate isn't thick enough. So let's increase the thickness. And now they are intersecting. It worked. Yes. Excuse me. I'm so glad it worked. Now what we can do is we can take transform geometry, reset everything real quick. All right. So now what we have here, guys, I'm trying to show you this. We have this piece right here. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is that we don't really need anything on this side. We'll come back to how to delete all this stuff because we can use a delete geometry node. But now I'm thinking we do like mesh to points, right? So now we have all these points, and then we can simply instance our other piece on there. Where is that piece I designed? Where's that little piece that I had? Oh, here it is right here. This needs to be in the textured surface folder. I'm going to call this diamond because it kind of looks like a diamond. And now I'm going to go back into focus mode on just this object. I'm going to do instance on points. I'm going to bring this diamond in here. Let's go. That worked really well. I didn't think it was going to work that well. Now, as you can see, it's instancing on these other points that we like don't need. So in order to fix that, this is going to be a really cool trick. You guys are going to like this one. What I think we can do, actually, maybe we don't need solidify at all. Maybe this piece, hold on a second. I'm going to get rid of geometry nodes for a second. Maybe this piece just needs to be moved back a little bit. Let me just see something. This piece needs to be moved back. But it still needs, no. Actually, that's not going to work. I'm sorry. It needs to intersect with the grid. So that's not going to work. Wait. Where was I? Why did everything just break? Back. There we go. Oh, because I didn't have the solidify. Okay. So what I was going to say before I got a little distracted there is that I think we can just delete these with a delete geometry. And I'll do that by, after the mesh boolean, I'll say delete geometry. And then I just want to delete the geometry that is above a certain y axis. So I'm going to do position. I'm going to separate x, y, z. And then I'm going to delete everything that is, let's do compare node. We're going to compare this. Just move all this stuff up. So really what we want is we want to move this here. We want to delete everything that is greater than a certain y axis. But the question is, where is that? Let's mess around with this a little bit. Or do we do less than negative? Oh, let's try it. Let's try less than. Oh, because this is the negative direction. Duh. Let's try 0.1. Nope, 0.02. We're getting like weird results here. Why? Oh, you know what? We could do, I'm so silly. We could just do merge by distance. Let's try that instead. Hold on. I'm so silly. We could just merge by distance. And then we just merge these weird little things that are happening on the edge here. We'll do 0.01. Let's do 0.005. That looks good. And then we can just increase the density, I believe. Let's do 0.003. That looks better. And then I think what we can do from here is we can get rid of some of these on the edge. I just don't know how yet. So now I think what we can do is if we go over here to our instance on points and we do scale instances, we can then just plug in a custom value. Right now they're scaled to 1. We can scale them to like 0.5, maybe 0.2. And then we'll just increase our grid definition to 200 by 200. Lower this to 0.2. Let's see how this looks so far. And then we need to transform our geometry at the end because we want to push it out just a teensy-wincy bit. Why? We want to do 0.1. Negative 0.002. Negative 0.005. See how that looks? Nope, not quite. Cool. So there's our texture. Now we just need to figure out how to like make it perfect, right? Again, just like scaling, things like that. I kind of want to, we're going to actually have to count because now I'm like, okay, we're going to have to make a count. Now, this isn't perfect yet. And the reason it's not perfect yet is because we have these like weird edges going on here. I'm brainstorming on like how I can fix that. I kind of want to see if like this would make a difference. Nope. Just see if this will make a difference here. Oh, maybe it's oh my god. We shouldn't be using difference. We should be using intersect. I might have just crashed Blender. I might have just crashed it. that actually did the trick. But now the question is, how do we get rid of like some of these weird bevels? That's going to be the amount of segments. So the less segments, the better. So if we just get rid of them, or actually, let me see something here. Maybe no merge by distance at this point. That's better. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so no merge by distance. The bevel amount, we can decrease that a little bit. The more segments, the more definition it'll be ultimately. But this is looking really good. And then it's just a matter of like scaling these properly. Cool. We got our surface texture that we were looking for. Few little stragglers here, but we can probably figure that out. Now, there's another area that has this texture. Where is it? Where is that texture at? Okay, there's the texture there. Oh, the texture is right here. You know what's funny? Even this thing looks like they did some merge by distance on this thing. Not really. Okay, so let's do this surface here with the same technique, and let's see if it works. I'm a little nervous because we have to modify that. We might have to modify this technique a little bit. However, let me think. Let me brainstorm. Is this possible? Yes, it is. Of course, it's possible. Anything's possible in Blender. All right, so we have our surface there. I'm like very, very happy with that. We would just have to check the scaling on that. All right, so this piece right here, that's in our modeling. I'm gonna duplicate this cylinder. All right, I'm gonna tab into edit mode. I'm gonna go ahead and select like just these faces here. I know you guys are probably thinking, there's a faster way to do it. Kenny, you're not doing it fast enough. Okay, right click, separate, selection. Delete the other part. This is the part where we want the spikes to come out of. I'm kind of curious if we get rid of bevel, edge split, subdiv. We don't need any of that crap. Let's add geometry nodes. No, let's add geometry nodes. I'm just going to add the current setup that I have and then watch this completely disappear. The reason that it disappears is because it is not intersecting with what we want it to. So like, does that make sense? It's not doing what we want it to do. So we're going to set up our own geometry node setup for this one. I'm just going to add a new geometry nodes. We'll click new. I'm going to see if we can remesh this to get a lot of dimension on this, okay? Don't remove disconnected. Why is the remesh not working? Can I just subdivide this a couple times? How many points are on this thing? Oh. Subdivide one more time. Okay, let's see if we can just distribute points on faces on here. Distribute points. Or how to just mesh 2 points. Boom. And there they are. And there's all our points. And then I'm just going to do instance on points. We'll grab this diamond. We'll instance it. Let's go ahead and scale these down a little bit. There they are. Okay, they're not facing the correct direction, and that's because they're not facing the normal. So instead of mesh to points, we'll do distribute points on faces. No, not grid. Distribute points on faces, you absolute buffoon. And then we want to have the density be very high. And why are we not getting any points? Why do we have only 1 point? Not random. I want this. What's going on here? Where's my points? What? Genuinely no idea why they're not showing up. Where are the... I want my points on my faces. Go back. Start over again. Back. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay. You know what? We'll do mesh to points again. Vertices. Let's do faces. these need to be facing the other way. So we'll do, you know what? We'll just try it manually. Rotate instances. That's fine. Shouldn't the front texture be rotated 45 degrees? Ooh, good call. I did not do that. We will definitely do that. Oh. I'll be honest, I cannot tell how these are rotated right now at all because there's... There we go. Perfect. Okay, perfect. I'm actually going to unsubdivide this. Edge, unsubdivide. Perfect. And then we'll just... Cool. Edge, actually, you know what? Let me take this edge. Let me extrude it and scale it inwards. Just a little bit. Perfect. Press edge, unsubdivide again. Just kind of want to see what's going on here. This texture. I guess you could just add another loop cut wherever you need more detail. I don't feel like these are truly like perfect, but let me just see. That's better. That's more like what I'm looking for. Okay. Ugh. Looks weird, but I feel like that's actually kind of what it looks like. Besides the middle. We're gonna double check on the middle here. Yeah, maybe we delete this edge. Oops. Select circle. We accidentally made a bunch of weird shapes. That's okay. I know it sounds weird, but I actually think that's like kind of what it looks like. Someone mentioned 45-degree angle. That is absolutely true. We do need to fix that. Oh, this one's not at a 45 actually. So hold on. Are they facing the correct way on the front? Now you're making me double check and rethink it. No, don't open Photoshop. No. Oh, no. Oh, they're different on the front than the back. Photoshop, please get the heck out of here. Please, no, you're going to eat up my GPU. It won't look like the reference. You need the points to be on a square grid. Oh, let's see. You're right. You're absolutely right. All right, let's do the overlap. Let's do the overlap. Doesn't look terrible, but it's not. It actually, you know, it kind of looks like a flower. Maybe you could use this for a flower generator one day. All right, back to these ones real quick because now I'm like, oh crap, I got to actually rotate these individually. Go back. Where is it? Grid, yup. And then for our object, we want our object to be transformed before anything happens. We want it to be rotated on the Y 45. Did I do it? I feel like I did not do it. What the heck? Oh my God. You know why this just like complicated everything even more? Because now, hold on. I need to go back to the image reference again. And I guess they are stacked properly. Oh my God. Now it's going to be, oh my God. The reason this is tough is because they can't like touch each other like that. They're supposed to be off. Like they're arrayed almost like, actually, hold on. I think I know an easy fix for this. Instead, let me think, cut it like that. I'm thinking this through real quick. Because technically you're rotating all of them at once, right? They're still in the grid pattern, but the grid is, okay, we'll just flip the grid. I think I got it. We'll flip the grid to the right. So the grid is rotated 90 degrees. We're going to rotate it 45 on the Y. Boom. Problem solved, except for now the rotation or the scale is slightly off. Problem not solved. Hold on. Problem not solved. Oh, we set the origin on the diamond. Okay, I got it. We set the origin on the diamond to the corner. Where's the diamond? We take this origin, set it to the corner. Let's see if that works. Did that work? That did not work because relative? No, it should. Why did that not work? It should have. Is it not going by the origin? I thought it would be. That's really weird that it wouldn't go. Oh, it is going by the origin, but it's still instancing per point. I'm really not sure why it wouldn't want to do that. Oh, crap. All right, I'm not sure. I mean, it's not terrible, though. It still looks good. I don't know why it wouldn't follow that as the origin. Do I have to go object apply scale? No? I'm not sure. This looks good, though. All right, I kind of want to get on with like rendering and stuff like that. I do have to figure out this one, though, because this one isn't based on the grid. Rotate the grid and the object. Oh, you're right. You're right. Let's try that. Let's try that. RY 45. Or, hold on. Let's just do it right here. RY. You're so smart, my friend. Who said that? Whoever said that? You're so stinking smart. Looks better. Yeah. You're smart, my friend. I didn't think about rotating the object in edit mode. Okay, back to this. We need this to be basically on a grid formation. So what I'm going to do is I am going to brainstorm. Where is this piece here? Let me turn off geometry nodes for a second. You know what I might just do? I might just, I think I got it. This is kind of a stupid way to do this, but I'm going to try it. And if it works, I'm a genius. If it doesn't work, I wasted everybody's time. You ready to see if I'm going to waste your time or not? Subdivide, 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 and RX90, and boom, and scale, and boom, and scale, and extrude, and bring this guy right here. Okay, let's see this. Let's do a Boolean. Let's do intersect, and let's intersect it with this piece. I am going to bring this to where I think that was. Oh my God. Hold on. Where? Oh, this is in the wrong. This needs to be here. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and bring it right here. Now let's do this. Intersect, hide. Now I want to see something. If I apply this, nah, it's not going to work. Now what I could do is I could remesh this using blocks, but it doesn't seem to want to do that for me, does it? Now it does. Haha. All right, now we're going to go ahead and convert it to mesh. Oops, no, we need to just apply the remesh. Now we have a grid. Haha. And now that we have a grid, I will reline it with the origin. This is a really crude way to do this, but it works for me. Select everything but the front faces. Delete all of the faces. And then I'm going to select the front faces. I'm going to select the inverse, and I'm going to delete everything. Now we just have this. Now we can unsubdivide this. You can do, I don't know, edge, unsubdivide, edge, unsubdivide. Now we have something that looks like this, and I feel like it looks, well, a little bit better. And then we have mesh to points. Just joined. What are you making? Apparently the most frustrating camera of all time. We're making a camera. This is the camera we're making. We're just about to get to the fun part, which is going to be like the texturing and things like that. So I'm kind of like excited for that. What have I done? That is what I was looking for, except it's not perfect. And the reason it's not perfect is because we have these really weird edges on the outside, but I have a fix for that. You guessed it. Merge by distance. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the chat. Merge by distance. Ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we can make it work in our favor. And we did. And now we just got to see on the reference again. How many are we working with here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the top. Yes, I said 6, 7. I don't care. All right, so we need to unsubdivide it one more time. Vertex, edge, unsubdivide. And then merge by distance. We'll merge them by something greater. And then we'll do 0.2 for the size. Oh, God, this is getting worse and worse, isn't it? Kind of liked it better before. I'm not going to lie. Not having fun with this one. Although, another thing you could do... God, there's so many ways you could do this. This is like... I feel like the way that I'm doing it, like, at this point, I probably would have been better off just, like, literally duplicating this thing over and over and over and over again. But, like... instead, I made you guys sit through this absolutely painful process. You know what? We're going to come back to this because I'm really excited to just like put some light on this scene and kind of see what else we're missing. Can we just see? Are we missing anything else? What are we missing? Oh, we're missing these side ports. We're missing the logo. I don't have a side view of that, but I can just add that. I mean, I'll probably just let's just add that in. Let's go back to the layout. We're going to add this in just because I think I'm going to eyeball it. So I'm just going to do a cube, scale it down, put it in the regular modeling section, scale it, GX, scale, scale, scale. And we're going to move it over here. We're going to tab in edit mode, scale it up. We're going to push it up against the wall here, something like that. I'm going to just estimate where this is. I feel like that's about where it is, maybe a little bit thinner. What do you guys think? Good. Let's go ahead and bevel it. Object apply scale. It's going to fix the bevel issue. And then I think I'm just going to like do the same thing I always do. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to do bevel weight. In this instance, we want this edge and we want this edge. And then I'm just going to do weight. I'm going to increase the weight. Boom, boom, boom. Tab, shade auto smooth, out of weird editing here. View frame selected to frame it. Perfect. We'll do 0.06. We don't want that like weird overlap. There is a way to fix that in edit mode. I forget the exact thing. I don't know why this is not. Okay, we'll do 0.025. That's fine. That looks good. Okay, I want to do a Boolean. Look at how many Boolean operations are on this thing. Holy mackerel. Okay. There's also something right there. I don't really know what that is. I don't really care. I kind of want to like actually put this thing in like a render now. Tell me I missed the weird bevel down there. I don't know. It's fine. All right, this is looking pretty solid. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's try to like replicate this lighting. Let's go into rendered view. We're gonna make our background white because apparently that's what it is. We'll come back to that because let me just add like a basic shader to this so I can like see what the heck's going on here. All right, so with our camera, with like lighting and things like that, I guess we'll like try to replicate this lighting the best that we can. I think it's possible in Blender. It's ultimately going to come down to materials. It's going to come down to like our background. Right now, our background is white, but we actually might not want to do that because it's actually emitting like a color, right? So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a plane. I'm going to do RY90, RZ90. We're going to put this plane behind our subject, which is right here. Okay? I'm also going to add a camera so we have something to look through. Okay, scale it down. Remember, we're working with like more or less like real world scale here. So I'm going to kind of try to get, I want to kind of get this like top down view that they have. Let's do a 85 millimeter lens. Let's do 1920 by 1080. I'm holding shift as I do this. Which direction are they facing? Oh, they're actually going this way. And they're kind of like looking at a top-down view here. I'm going to try to like replicate this as closely as possible. They might be using a 50 millimeter lens. We'll try it. And we'll get a little bit closer to the subject here. Oops. Again, we're trying to kind of replicate this like as closely as possible. I still feel like we're not quite there. Down. Cool. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's see where we're at right now. Scale this out. Now, I am going to pick a background color. I actually want to do like kind of a gray so that when we add our light in here, it actually looks good. Now, for our light or for our background, I'm actually going to do an emission. I'm going to do an emission of 3 because I want it to be like kind of like this solid, sort of like this solid white. There's a couple ways we can like set up our lighting here. The first thing I think I'll do, I may actually just duplicate this this plane, move it to the bottom. Just want to see what we get here. We're kind of already starting to get kind of like what we're looking for. I want to go to my camera. I want to enable this pass part out. I want the light to be coming from underneath, but then we want that dark contrast. So the darker we make our background, the more likely it is we're going to get that contrast. Because like if I made this a metal object right now, where's metallic? If I made this metallic with like a low roughness, let's see if this works. We're not getting the what I'm looking for. Hold on. There we go. Now we are. All right, we might do in post comp. We might do the background a little bit differently. Wes, how you doing, my friend? Good to hear from you. All right, so this is going to be kind of like this brushed aluminum look. I'm just going to kind of put this over here as a reference. This is what we're going for, right? We're going for this really stark emission kind of vibe, right? So the bottom shader, let's make that like 10, like something really, really intense. Now you can start to see like where the shadows are coming from, right? Whenever we look at lighting, we want to look at where is this shadow coming from. It looks like it's coming from an angle. So I'm actually going to push our light source over here. Now we're starting to get something, right? I might even go here and do 20, right? Something ridiculous. But now you can see our light source is coming from underneath and it's catching our model in a specific way. And I feel like this is starting to look like what we're actually going for here. All right, now in terms of our surface materials, I think we're going to just create some basic brushed metal look. And we're also going to have something that kind of looks like, if you've ever seen like an Apple product, if you look really close at the surface, it has these little tiny bumps, like really tiny bumps. We're going to do that as well. Let me go ahead and take a look here. Yeah, let's go into the shader editor. Okay, here we go. View, we'll do frame selected. Okay, good. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we can do here. So right now we have a metallic shader. We won't do any edge tint, but I am going to actually get a reference image in here so we can have our reference image on the left. Perfect. That's it right there. We'll do it like this. Again, this is kind of the lighting setup that we're going for, right? So we have our lighting setup. I kind of want to just like look at materials here. I'm going to see if I have any other references online that we can take a look at real quick. I'm looking for like, oh, here you go. Where's this one? Where's this one? Where's the original image? Show me the original image. I thought we had it up here, no? I was pretty sure we had it. That image is fantastic. I wish there was a slightly higher quality for that. Let's go to our tools real quick because I want to get this texture as close as possible. And I think it's totally achievable in Blender if we just kind of set our mind to it here. See, it keeps telling me this is the original. Oh, this is the original image. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. Perfect. Now we can really see this texture. Bunch of noise going on there. We're going to be using a noise texture for sure. All right, let's do it. Cool. You know, it is funny. It almost has this very, very, very subtle, like, I feel like there's some color to it. Just like ever so slight amount of color to this. We're going to hide this. We're going to come in here. We are going to, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to push this emission shape. This emission plane is getting pushed so far back so that I can still scale it up, right? There we go. I want this to be like, no, I don't want it to be that blown out. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's go to color management. Let's do high contrast. Exposure is pretty high. Perfect. All right, now let's look at the materials. All right, now for this material, this is going to be like our main metal. Pretty much everything is made of this exact same metal. We're really just adjusting like the roughness here with a color ramp. And we're adjusting it with some noise. All right, and this is all going to be like completely procedural, which is, well, why we love Blender, right? Texture coordinate here. Someone in my house. Yep, that's my wife. Okay, just got to double check. All right, we'll go ahead and plug the UV in there. We'll take a look at the scaling here. Cool. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to adjust our scaling, but I do want to distort it a bunch too, because it is going to have this like distorted look to it. Roughness, we're not going to play with that too much. Distortion, though, we are. Believe it or not, this is going to look really good once we put it on like a smaller scale. Let me just go ahead and see. There we go. Object looks good. All right, so notice how it has this kind of like warped kind of appearance. We're going to be using this, right? We'll be using this here. Cool. All right, now we can bump up the scale a bunch. We're going to do scale, I don't know, 1000 maybe. And notice how we're starting to get this kind of look that we're going for here. One thing I'll do is to dumb it down a little bit. Remember, like, the closer to gray and white that you use, the more drastic effects you're going to get. Not Jurassic like Jurassic Park, but there we go. There we go. Okay. I'm looking really towards like both of these edges here to kind of see what's going to happen. This is going to take a little bit of tweaking as well. Okay. Perfect. All right, let's do detail 2. Not exactly what I'm looking for. Kind of close though. I'm looking for a very like spotty look. More like that, but we don't want it to be too rough, right? We want it to be like kind of like that. Hey everyone, thank you for Blender. What say? Oh, Blender stream and sharing. Yes, thank you guys. I really appreciate that. Now we're getting closer to like what we're looking for. Now there is a subtle like there's a very, very, very subtle like bump to it, so we'll probably do that as well. This is not exactly what I'm looking for here, though. Hold on. It's a little bit better. It's looking a little bit better. We're going to copy this material over. Okay. I'm also going to take this. I'm going to try to add a bump in here and just kind of see what happens. Plug it into the height. Normal into the normal. And the bump does work. We should be really careful here. We don't want to have it be too much, right? We want it to be like subtle surface texture, but nothing too crazy. I feel like that doesn't look too terrible. I'm not too displeased with that. Literally everything has that exact texture. Almost everything. Like I'm literally going to do this. Like I'm going to go like this. Literally everything has that texture. All right, now it's a matter of like tweaking the roughness. Going back to our other reference photo, which I believe is this one. We really just need to match. I want to match this as closely as possible. It's definitely not an easy task, but I want to try. Did I get this as, yeah, I did, okay. Double check. Oh, you know what? We have to go into geometry nodes and we have to set our material over here. That's one thing we didn't do. This is going to actually help us really figure out if we did this correctly or not. I also need to name this material. What are we going to name this? I'll name this metal. Come back to geometry nodes. I'll do metal here. Let's see how that looks. It actually doesn't look too bad. Something is off about this, though. Why does this look so weird? Is it the roughness? Maybe it is the roughness. Is there a level of, like, anisotropy that this should be? Probably not. The base color, I guess it is pretty much this gray color. Edge tint, I'm not really going to mess with that too much. It's really just a matter of, like, figuring out the roughness values. I'm going to try something real quick. See if we can get away with like a low roughness on here. Hold on. I want to see something real quick because I'm going to delete. I'm going to delete that. All right. We're going to do this because I want to see what this is really going to look like. We're going to go to, we're going to give this an environment texture, like a really basic environment texture. I normally probably like wouldn't do this, but I just kind of want to see what we're going to get here. Yeah, we're going to get a little bit of a higher level of realism, obviously. I want to tone this down, though. I want to do like 0.2, maybe 0.5 for the level here. I'm going to really scale this up. Yep. And then for the background, we're going to do like some compositing real quick. We're going to do a new render layer. We're going to do, I don't know, just like a color. Okay, we're going to do a alpha, is it alpha over? So the foreground, we want this. The background, we just want a color. And then, I forget how to do this. I'll be totally honest with you guys. Hold on, let me see. Can we do this in real time? I forget if we can. We're going to go here. We're going to go here. We're going to go to enabled in camera. Oh, it does work. Okay, good. Okay, so it does work because now we can change the color of the background. Perfect. So we'll do white. Can I do an emission? No, I can't. But I'm going to do a, if I do straight up white, is that the highest it can possibly be? Why does this seem brighter though? Did it right? Yeah, background is white. Okay. Glare maybe? Some glare on there. Oh, whoa, whoa, it's too much. Okay. Let's go back. Let's enable it here. That's one way to do it. Oh, you know what we could do now at this point? We could actually add a gradient. That's one thing we could do. We can also, instead of having this be seen, we can go into our camera. Oh, this is going to be cool. You guys are going to like this little trick. Go into our camera, and we'll just adjust our view distance. Clip end. Go ahead and reduce that a lot. We only want to be able to see the camera. And there it is. We can only see the camera. And now it's just white everywhere else. And then we can go back. We can take this plane, even though we can't see it, and we can adjust the strength of it here. Maybe like something lower, maybe 10. Maybe 5. That looks good. All right, and I also kind of want to get my camera a little bit closer too. Tempted to say. And for the clip, we'll bring this down a little bit. For the clip end, we'll just adjust it to 1.2. Looks good. Now we have this. This is looking really solid. I want to try a different environment texture. That one looks pretty good, actually. And you know what? I'm also realizing now that our camera should be like facing this way more, and we don't have our lens yet. So there's that as well. And you know what? There is like a little bit of tilt right here. That I just tilted the camera, but like I feel like we're getting kind of like we're getting closer here to like the result that we're looking for. Now the knurling, if someone was just saying, I think that the knurling is also going to need to be less. Like we're going to have to go back into geometry nodes and scale these back a little bit. And the grid will be less too. So let's try 150 and 150. And let's just scale these up a little bit. Yeah, let's try that. That looks a little bit better. Yeah, I feel like that looks closer to what we have. Okay, so now again, looking at these highlights, I kind of want to look. The hardest part, one of the hardest parts about Blender is the actual like materials and things like that, right? Although I do notice one thing, there's like a bevel on this lens that we don't have, and I think it's throwing off like the realism element, if you will. So let's go ahead and add that. Notice how everything's still tilted? That is so funny. All right, we got our edge split, we got our subdiv, we got our solidify. Let's do a bevel. With some angles here. A little bit better. And we need a lens in here. Guys, that's what we don't have. We don't have a lens. Let's duplicate this. Let's right click. Let's separate its selection. So now we have this. Let's make this into a lens. Shall we? Get rid of the material. Give it some glass. No, we don't want any roughness. We want to have our edge split, subdiv, solidify. We want our lens to be 1.45 IOR. We want it to also be concave. Like we want it to kind of bow out just like ever so slightly. Although in this photo, I'm not actually seeing like, yeah, I don't think I'm seeing that. I'm also going to teach you guys this really cool trick on how to get this lens in there without actually modeling it. We're actually going to take a picture and use a picture for that. All right. All right, let's do this. GY, we'll push it back to about there. All right, so we got our lens. It's looking nice. Now check this out. We can actually go in here and do a smooth modifier. I'm gonna bevel that though. What the heck? Maybe we won't do a smooth modifier. Okay, scratch that. Take our top face, we'll inset it. Bring it out. Cool. Gives us a slightly interesting thing there. Although, now that I'm looking at that, would smooth work now? It would. And you just scale it out to meet the edges. Why are we getting such a weird thing going on here? Let me inset that again. There we go. That's better. Perfect. Let's see if that looks good. Much better. Much better. And, of course, shade smooth. Perfect. We're getting some weird banding in here. I still think we can fix that with... I don't know why smooth is not like smoothing the way it should. We'll come back to that. But regardless, we can basically, we'll be able to see through this, right? However, I'm noticing there should not be too much light in here. So our our plate, or our plate, our piece at the bottom, which really this should be part of our lighting. Where is this located? I'm going to make a new collection. I'm just going to call this lighting. Oh, all caps, lighting. Perfect. This should be more like over here. Like it shouldn't really be shining too much in the direction that it is right now. Let's do this. Let's do this. Go here, rotate it here. Again, increasing this amount, we'll increase it up to 20. You know what? We could just use an area light. We could. That might be the back side of the lens. Yeah, it is that. Well, so we're going to use a picture for that, right? We are going to use a picture for that. Crap, what was I just going to say? Oh, yeah, let's use an area light. I just want to see if we can get a similar result for an area light. The light's coming from this direction. Okay, scale. Let's hide this. Let's rotate. Let's take our area light and let's see how the lighting looks right now. Okay, yeah, we can achieve a similar lighting setup. Now, if we take this spread count and we reduce it, we're going to get more of these like harsh lines. So like, see this fade right here? I'm trying to achieve that fade, right? I'm trying to replicate this shadow as closely as I possibly can without like destroying everything, right? That doesn't look terrible. Oops, I already saved this. We're not getting enough light on the top is the problem right now. That's a little bit better. It's crazy how many like little adjustments that you can make. It's just insane. Again, I'm going to rotate, kind of coming up here. Trying to get this as close as possible. With our light, I'm going to move our light back. There's our area light. Our area light should be in our lighting collection. I'm going to move it back on the Y because, again, I think, where is it? Nope. That's the rotation. There we go. That's a little bit better. Maybe if we make it thinner. God, there's so many like factors and considerations. The exposure is pretty good. I'm still not getting that like fade that I'm looking for on the texture. And I'm wondering if it's because, is there something that's like hidden? I don't see anything hidden. I'm not getting like that fade that I'm looking for. Did I give this a texture? I think I did. I'm thinking of why I wouldn't be getting that. Oh, maybe because there's another camera right here. Yeah, it could be the back side of the lens. All right, let me show you this cool trick now. Sorry it took so long to get to this point, but here we go. Let's add in an image. Let's add in an image mesh plane. I want this image right here because this is what has the lens. Let me just make sure my wife is okay real quick, guys. Hey, are you cool if I keep live streaming or do you need help? All right, let's go into shading. I'm going to show you guys something cool here. We're going to just focus on this for just a second. All right. So, okay. All right, we're good. All right, we're going to turn the roughness down. I'm going to tab into edit mode and subdivide this. I am going to take these edges, move them over here. GG to slide. Another loop cut here. Okay. And then I'm going to go into vertex select mode, select these, delete the vertices, delete these vertices. I'm going to add a bevel. I'm going to bevel the vertices like that. I'm going to bring them in. Okay. Geometry, clamp overlap. Whoa. Why is this being so weird? Oh, I see why. Needs a cut right here. Actually, I guess you could dissolve this vertex. Ah, there we go. Okay, so what I was trying to do is show you guys that if you bevel it, you can basically choose to cut it out like a circle. Now, the roughness, we want to keep the metallic high, roughness kind of low. And now what we need to do is scale it down so that it's about the size of the lens, more or less. Bring it out here. Go to our front view. Scale it down a little bit. Now this is like, you know, you don't always want to do it this way, but this is just like one way you can do it. And then you can just kind of push it back into the lens here, right behind the lens. All right, I don't know if we're even going to be able to see it at all. Oh no, we can a little bit. And then if you really want to, just to like make it a little bit more apparent, you can like take this IOR of this lens or of this glass and like turn it down a little bit. You're probably thinking though to yourself, well, okay, like that's great, but then I can't like, how do I explain this? We basically have just this flat plane, right? Where is this flat plane? Can't even see it anymore. Hold on. I lost it. There it is. All right, so we have this flat plane, but it doesn't have any like dimension to it. So like, can we bring dimension to it? You betcha. You betcha we can. We're gonna make a new geometry node setup. We are going to do a set position. We're gonna subdivide the mesh though. No, we're not. Hold on. We're going to set the position offset to an image texture, and we're just going to set it to the same image texture, and we should be able to get, was it this one? Yeah, I think it is. So we only want to do this to the Y, so we want to combine X, Y, Z. We only want to do it to the Y. Why are we getting such weird results here? Oh, object, apply, rotation. There we go. That'll help a little bit. Now, the reason it's looking weird is because we don't have any like mesh to it. There's no like geometry to work with, if you will. So in order to fix this, we have a bevel, we have geometry nodes. Let's do a let me think about this real quick. Without geometry nodes. There it is. Just want to try something real quick. If we inset this face a little bit. No, we don't want to do that. Let me just apply the bevel first. And then I'm gonna select this face. Hold on. Why is this acting so weird? Where is this face? Separate by loose parts. There are no loose parts. What the heck, bro? Go back, go back. Undo, undo, undo. Okay, hold that thought. Oh, it's the amount of vertices. And it's the fact that we didn't put clamp overlap, and the fact that this is horrible topology. Let me think. We want to take this, 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 and this, and we want to dissolve the vertices. There we go. All right, now we apply the bevel. We still have the camera texture. We do. Then what we want to do is we want to grid fill this, but it's probably not going to work. No, it did kind of work. So once we grid fill this and we use an image texture, we could basically push out those areas. Another way we could do it, this is kind of like really like ghetto way to do it, but we can do it, is we go into edge select mode, we go to material preview, we inset it. Get rid of this. Inset it. What is happening? Oh, I'm sorry. We need to do face select. Okay, now bro, what? I'm not sure why it's... Did I not apply the scale? Bro. What is happening? All right, maybe we just won't do that at all. All right, scratch that. I'm not sure why that was happening, but I don't care because I'm not messing with it anymore. All right, let's just assume that that worked. One way you could also do it is just by actually modeling it too. I don't know why that inset was being weird, but we're going to take a brief pause. Okay, so far, I'm very pleased with what we have. I think that the HDRI that we're using is actually not benefiting us, so I'm going to try this one real quick. That's a little bit better. I want to try a studio. Let's try this studio. That's a little bit better too. I don't mind that. I'm still not sure, like, what is up with these, like, the knurling on this. Did I definitely give it that material? I definitely did, right? Yeah, I definitely did. Okay, I have an idea. I think I know what's going on here. Theory is that if we go to our diamond and we go to view frame selected, maybe our diamond needs a little bit of a bevel. Just like ever so slight bevel. Give it more like dimension. Let's see if that helped. And it did not. All right, let's try this. Ooh, I kind of like that. Gives it kind of like a little bit more of an earthy atmosphere. Okay, I don't like that. Why are we getting... Oh, it's because of the HDRI. Oh my god, these HDRIs trip me up so much because every time I add them, I forget that there's like a whole nother light source, which is obviously the point. I actually think the one we had our best bet with, or our best luck with, might have been this one right here. Now, I'm going to show you guys a cool trick. If we go into rendered mode, and we go to snap to the camera, we can actually go over here to world. You guys might like this trick. Or maybe you already know this trick. Just add some mapping here. Okay, and a texture coordinate. And plug this in, and you can actually rotate the, whatchamacallit, the environment. That's kind of a vibe right there. I kind of like that. I'm going to keep that, even though it doesn't match exactly what we have. I kind of like that. I have an idea of what, I think I know why we're not getting the like the shadows up here. So we're gonna add something called a catch, not a catch light, a oh my god, well, I forget, like almost like a reflector. We're gonna add a reflector up here, but this time instead of using an emission, we're gonna use just like a black color, and it is not. Hold on. Hide that. Take this. There we go. We're going to add a black color, and this is going to like kind of catch the light. Notice how it kind of catches the light. Here's before, after. Now here's the strategy with this. Rotating it so that you get the result that you're looking for. And this is, well, this is the hard part, right? Because you don't really know what it's going to look like without rotating it around. So notice how when I bring it closer, hold on. Notice how I can get rid of all of the light up here by just simply rotating this like panel. We should be able to get that desired result that we're looking for on the left. Let me just see something. There it is. All right, so look, I just want to point this out. So this is, we're not going to make sure this isn't shown in the shot. Do you guys see how there's a little bit of like more texture on our pieces here? That is because we have this this thing that's catching the light. Does everybody notice the difference there? Right? So what I can do is I can scale this on the Y. Okay? I can bring it until I'm like happy with it. Like let's say I like want it there and maybe like maybe like that. Hold on, let me just move it. I want it to be like relatively close, but not so close. Let me go back to where it was before. I want it to be like kind of like that, but more like off to the side. More on the top, like honestly, than anything else. Why is this? Oh, it's really that big of a light. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, so our goal is to kind of have this so that it's like catching the side here. Perfect. Almost like touching this thing, right? That's a little bit better. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Hold on. No, not quite. Let me go back to my HDRI. Knock it down to 0.2. There we go. It's a little bit better. Notice how we're getting like this interesting piece here. Although I'm not in love with it. I'm actually going to undo it. I'm not in love with it. I decided against it. Again, this is how you overthink lighting. It takes so long to like get the setup that you're looking for that by the time you get it, it's like, oh, okay, well, right. I'm also looking. There might be a light on the other side. Everything's really primarily underneath. It's not looking terrible. This is like, it's easy to like overjudge this, right? Here's another cool thing. If you don't like the colors you're getting, you can go hue saturation here. Dumb down the saturation a little bit. And now you have a more clean lighting setup that is, well, basically black and white, right? I'm looking very carefully here to see why aren't we getting as much on the top here. I want to see something real quick. I'm going to have to re-enable our background here. Yeah. Let's see. That looks a little bit better. Maybe I do need a studio. I'm going to rotate this around a little bit. That's it. And then, you know what? Here's another cool thing you can do. You can mix the color of the environment texture. So this is like, with Blender, there's so much you can do. Mix color. You can mix a color here. Just keep the saturation at 1. Like you can take blue and mix it in, right? So, show you what I mean. Let's say you wanted everything to have a green tint. You could make that happen. Or maybe you want everything to have like a subtly blue tint. You can also make that happen. And this just so happens to have that a little bit. So I'll kind of go with it. All right, now I'll come back in here. I'll just kind of like analyze the situation here. Still not in love like with the way that the glass looks. It's a little bit better. I have an idea. Where's my lens? My lens is somewhere in here. Is it this? Let's see if I can find it. It's one of these planes in here. I have no idea what I called it. I'll be honest. Is it this? No, it's not this. I just clicked on that already. Bruh. Oh, here it is. It's called, why is it called Camera 4? What? I never named it that. Lens pick. There we go. Okay. Anyway, with the lens picture, if we come in here, I think we can just lighten it up so it's a little more visible. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do brightness and the contrast. That's too bright. Let's see how that looks. Honestly, not bad. Not bad. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm also noticing that this is not the correct size that we put it on, but I'm really like looking to see other like little things we can improve upon. Like this bevel, it's actually greater than I thought it was. So one of these bevels in here, I think it's this one here, is actually slightly larger than I thought. And I do think it's like little things like that that I actually think are going to increase the like level of realism here. That's a little bit better. Like I already can start to see like how that's better. I'm also going to duplicate this bottom light because I'm seeing that down here. Yeah, there we go. See that? That's even better. Even better. I'd ditch the HDRI and use a second area light to get the additional highlights, but that's if you were trying to replicate the look. Yeah, no, that's absolutely a good idea. You need 3-point lighting and find some IS light texture. HDRI going to destroy most of your detail. Really? It's going to destroy the detail? How so? Is that true? Oh my god, I just noticed why this looks so weird. This lens needs to be smaller. The lens is literally sticking outside of this whole thing. I knew something looked funky. There we go. That's better. I still think with our lighting, like, it's looking so... This just looks so flat. Why does this look so flat? Maybe it's just truly not... Maybe it's truly not the right roughness level. Oops. Does it have some anisotropic? Maybe it has a little bit. Maybe it's just genuinely like a brighter color than I thought it was. I changed my mind about the slight blue. I don't like it. And I also changed my mind about the anisotropic. Maybe like ever so slightly. What do you guys think so far? Honest thoughts? Oh. That is not what I meant to do. Do you think it is like a mix of like the material? Might be. There's also a few things I haven't even really added yet that aren't even quite in here. No highlights? Oh, you're saying we won't get like weird highlights if the HDRI is not there? Here's here's without the HDRI. So now we have the two lights there. All right, we could try a 3-point lighting setup. We'll try it. I'll add another area light on the top. I'll scale it up a bunch, but then I'll make it like way, way, way dimmer, right? So we'll, oh, wow. Oh, geez. Where's the area light on the top? It's this one. Okay, so here's the area light on the top. We'll dumb it down to 3. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe this is the move, right? Slightly blue. Just ever so, almost like just the dumbest amount of, like, I can't even explain to you, like, is it even blue? It's almost like this color. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. So there's that, and then with the spread count, it's at 15. Let's raise that up. Some general highlights on here. That might be it. I'm tempted to say we just need the smallest bit of strength from the HDRI just to get, there needs to be like some way to like see in here. That's without the lens itself. Let's go back here. I still don't like love this material, but I do like the lighting setup that we have. I feel like we're like crazy close to like making this look the way it's supposed to look. Oh, another thing we don't have. Obviously, we don't have the numbers on the we don't have the numbers on here either. Yep. No, I agree. I agree with that. I agree. This is one of those things that's like it takes a lot of you see it takes a lot of practice. Why? Oh, I'm moving the wrong light. This is the one I want to move. What level do I want this light to be at? 5? Is that too much? That helps a little bit with this material. Maybe it's just a matter of like bumping this up a little bit. What level of exposure am I at here? Oh, that was entirely too much. Let's do very high contrast. My third area light is a very widespread area light. I almost wonder, is it coming from... Oh. Well, hold up. Let's make it a disk first. Okay, there's one thing. Hold on. 3. I'm looking to see, like, how can I get this lens to light up the way that it does? This is tough, man. Where is this light coming from? Oh, you know what? Maybe it's coming from this direction. It's like it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like targeting. It's really targeting like the lens itself, but not in that exact fashion. That's way too much. Man, this is a tough one. Thank you. Oh, the shadows might be softer. Oh, this one here? Yep. Here, let me see. What's the spread? Let's try 30, and let's try 30. That's a little bit... no, actually, no, 50. That's a little bit better. Now we're getting somewhere. And then this top area light, yet again, is, I guess, too intense. I don't mind that, though. Maybe we're so focused on the reference that we're not being creative enough. I don't know. That could be my fault there. God, there's just like, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Did you add hardened normal to your bevel? No, why? Is that, should I do that? It is funny though, because on here, see now what I'm tempted to do is duplicate this entire thing, right? Like take this model, put it in like a new lighting setup, and kind of get like this shot right here. Wait, is this a completely separate lens? It's a different lens. I also did not add, it's, you know what's just really bothering me is that I don't have the detail. I just don't have the light on these that I want, and I don't know, I'm not 100% sure exactly why. Part of me wants to add, where's that plane that I had? This plane. Add it here, right? But then take that plane and dumb down the strength to 2, or maybe point 0.2, 0.5. Scale it down, bring it right above this thing. I wonder if I could just disable it from viewport or ray visibility. Can't see it in the camera, but you can still see the lighting. I'm going to call this hidden light. You know, it's kind of scary to think. If we rendered this right now, it'd probably look like a mess because there's so many little like Boolean objects that I have not done anything with yet. Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on, wait. I think I got it. I think I got it. I had it. Hold on, I had it. That looks kind of close. Kind of close. But now you can't see anything inside the lens. This lens is, I do think the lens is also kind of like not going to be doing us any favors here. Yeah, nah. Props for choosing a really nice reference for a model, Kenny. Yeah, no, thank you. I think, I think it looks good. This is like the point in Blender where you could spend so much time trying to like get the details right. And it really just depends on like, what is your goal? The more I look at this though, the more I also think, is my model for this part correct? Like, does it need to be scaled in more? If we go ahead and zoom in on this, does this top face need to be like scaled in more? And maybe that's it. Maybe that'll fix a couple of things there. Definitely added a little bit, right? Added a little bit of stuff going on there that I think looks better. There's so many things. There's so many things to consider. And you know what else I did not do? That now I'm like, this is going to add another level. We can add a bevel to this. Just ever so slight bevel, right? Just to give it some more solidity. And already that looks better. Kind of getting those little mini highlights. It's the lens. The lens is what I'm not having a good time with right now. I have an idea though. Let's get our plane over here. Let's give it just like a white shader. Let's bring it over here. Scale it up a little bit. Because I want our glass to like kind of reflect this thing. Is our glass reflecting it now? Did that work? Bounced a little bit of light in there. And there you go. That helps a little bit. It's just it's that darn image texture. It's just not cutting it for me. Right now the brightness is at 0.1. Oopsies. I wonder if I like mixed it with a I wonder if it just needs to be like a diffuse. You're joking. That's not perfect, but that's hysterical that's That helps a little bit too. Now, the thing I will mention though, as you guys can see though, like you're not getting that recessed look for that light. Yeah, I think Will Adam, is that Will Adam? I do think that you're right. I think we're gonna have to just model it. As much as I like don't want to, it's really not gonna take that long. I'm just gonna do the whole like extrude, 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 scale, extrude, and then we'll do the lens pieces as well. Let's do it. Let me just text my wife real quick if you guys don't mind. Okay, here we go, guys. You ready? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna model it. Why? Because that's what we do here. I'm also gonna hide this for just a second. I'm gonna say lens catcher because it's catching the lens with light. This right here is part of the lens. I'm gonna hide it. All right, and then this is gonna be like ultimately like what we're working with here, but I'm just gonna add a cylinder. Keep it simple. All right, we're gonna move it. All right, let's go ahead and just I guess we'll just do our best to like model this thing and then kind of go from there. We'll tab into edit mode, grab our front face. Oh, and then yeah, we're gonna need a reference image, right? So where's our reference image? Here it is. And you know what? Let's do this. Let's bring it all the way over here. Bring that right there. Perfect. All right, tab into edit mode. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll try my best. We'll inset. What is going on with the Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. There we go. I was gonna. Oh, and by the way, I know why that was happening now. It was because of the geometry of the object. How did it happen? I have no idea. I really don't. Lord knows. Okay, we're gonna inset again. Bring this back. Right about there. Inset again. Inset again, ever so slightly. Bring it back. I'm just following like what I think I see. It'll look good though. It'll look good. Okay. Now this is the stepped part. I think again, I think I'm doing this right. We're gonna find out. It happens to the best of us. Yeah. Yep. It happens to me, certainly. Hold on. You gotta do this correctly. Oh my god, this part's gonna be such a PIA. Inset, extrude on the Y. Not that much though. Inset, EY. Inset, EY. Inset, EY. Inset, EY. Inset, EY. Bring it on back. Inset, EY. Inset, EY. I feel like that's it. I feel like that's what I'm going to do for this. How's that sound? All right, good. Edge split and subdiv. And shade smooth. Hide. GY. GY. Scale. Actually, wait a second. What's this? Is this the lens? GY. That's not the lens. I don't know what that is, actually. What did I make that for? I need to take this, and I need to delete this face. And then this is this the lens? No, this is the picture of the lens, which we don't want anymore because we decided against it. And then we're going to go to this cylinder, which is the actual lens. And we're going to see, well, not the actual lens. It's like the lens. It's almost like the lens plate, if you will. All right, that looks a lot better. Let's see what the IOR is. What are we working with here? I almost like I'm not gonna use the exact IOR. Definitely looks better. All right, now let's take the inner part of the lens, which is this part. Let's give it a new material, glossy, not glass. No, not glass. Glossy. There we go. We're gonna do glossy with like a lower roughness, and then I'm also going to take a big risk and give it a bevel. Right here. Shade it smooth. Much better. We'll give it like 0.33 roughness. We'll bring back our lens. And this is looking a whole lot better. There we go. That's looking superb. Way better. So, I think we're going to wrap this live stream up because the baby's up. It's time to go spend time with the family. We had a fantastic 2-hour and 37-minute live stream. But before we go, I have 2 requests of you guys for those who are still watching. One, please, 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 please consider going to Blender Conference in Austin, Texas, April 13th to 14th. Tickets are on sale right now. If you guys check them out, I'll drop the link in there one more time. And also, if you're interested, because not every single one of these live streams will be completely free. Again, we are testing like a premium membership for these types of live streams. Today, I thought I'd give back to the community, let you guys know that we're still thinking about you guys and we still want you guys to get amazing Blender content. So that's why we live stream today. But don't forget, we do have a membership. We're kind of toying around with that idea. It's not for everybody, but it is about $4 a month, and it does give you access to all of our premium live streams from before. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can become a member on YouTube. And yeah, BCON, guys, be there if you can. There's some amazing, amazing sponsors that are going to be there. Otoy, Polygon, Chaos, Linkage, Bolt Graphics is our like the main sponsor this year. And I would highly suggest you guys checking this out. Also, if you're interested in talking at BCON, submissions are still open. They're open for another couple days here. So if that's something you're considering, you want to get on stage, you have something special to talk about, check it out. BCON's great. I was there a couple years ago. Didn't get a chance to go last year because it was out of the country, but I live in the USA, so I will be there at Austin, Texas on April 13th, and I really hope to see you guys there. So yeah, this was a fun one. This was one of those live streams where like there's a lot of tweaking, and I think a lot of people don't see like these behind the scenes things that we do. They just see like, they're like, oh, what's the setup? And I'm like, well, the setup took 3 hours. They're like, but I need it done right now. And I think a lot of people don't take the time to experiment, but this is how you get these types of like results. Experimenting, playing with the lighting, trying your best to get what you can out of Blender, right? This is a setup that I'm very happy with. Like, I'm super proud that we were able to create this together. It was so much fun. So on that note, I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day, and I'll see you hopefully in the next live stream.